Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is.
Little Hen says it's time to rock and roll.
All you people are so scared of me.
Come quietly or there will be trouble.
Man, that's just me.
I'm Batman.
This is Sparta!
There is a tiger in the bathroom!
I'm an excellent driver.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
In your phone was a GPS sat tracker. Pulses at 24 gigahertz.
I don't know what that means.
It's like a low jack, only 2 generations better than what the police have.
And what does that mean?
You speak English?
Obviously not that well.
You're kind of a jerk, aren't you?
Hello and welcome back to this week's Monday Movie Show, to the DVD and Blu-ray section of the show. Coming up in this part of the show, we've got the DVD and Blu-ray top 10, as well as reviews of these new movies.
Twilight-esque, even though Andy's probably killing me now with saying Twilight-esque. Beautiful Creatures.
No, I agree with that.
Horror film starring Jessica Chastain and Mama. You've got a sort of horror film about zombies with warm bodies. Alfred Hitchcock gets the... Well, it's not the biography treatment. It's more about one of his films in Hitchcock. Terrence Malick with the to the one that gives you a clue on what it's like. Hick and TV movie of the week.
Yeah. Before that, though, we're going to go into the UK DVD and Blu-ray top 10. If you're listening to us live on Spreaker, remember and click on the little icon in the bottom right-hand corner that's got a number next to it now in yellow, because that's the chat window where you can chat with us during the show. So let's go into DVD and Blu-ray top 10.
Yeah, because we are ornery. Number 10, Jack Reacher.
That was just awful. So
we are ornery.
So ornery.
I actually really I need to dig that out. Try not to get the sweary bit and play it on the outro of the.
No, you got to remind me. You remind me now. I'll put it on the intro of next week's show.
Awesome.
Yeah. What was it? Number 10? Was that?
Yeah, Jack Reacher.
Yeah, which is a film that I really enjoyed. I thought it was really well done. Christopher McQuarrie, who wrote The Usual Suspects and directed The Way of the Gun, has this very serious and very sort of proper sense of direction and the way he tells the story. And Tom Cruise in this, he does that Tom Cruise thing of bringing his A game, and I thought a really good film. I really enjoyed it. Good thriller.
Average at best, in my opinion. Number 9, Skyfall.
Which is, a lot of people think it's the best Bond film. I think it's the second best Bond film to date. I still think Casino Royale is the best one. But Daniel Craig doing as great a job as ever as Bond. Xavier Bardem is a bit sort of kind of trying to copy the Joker from The Dark Knight, but he's an interesting villain. And it's Sam Mendes' take on James Bond, which has, I think, turned out to be the most successful Bond film ever now.
Yeah, I think Octopussy's the best one.
No,
it just gave me a chance to say the P word on this show in a different context, but I have no fear of Bond films anyway. I can't choose the best one.
Don't make me slap you.
I honestly can't choose the best one because I find them all boring. And number 8, Flight.
Which is Robert Zemeckis' film, so much that it has the same problem as Contact, where it's a big drama thing, and there's this... kind of like a big sort of action sequency sort of thing that it's all kind of built around, and that is the problem with the film. It has this big thing that you're expecting it to be, and it turns into this really long kind of melodrama. Not to say that there are bad performances in it. Denzel Washington is fantastic in it. John Goodman is brilliant in it. Even you've got as well, I forget his name, Don Cheadle, who's in it as well. He's really good in it too. But it feels like it's far too long stretched out for what it is.
Yeah, number 7, The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. Happy?
I thought you were going to make some comment there about far too long and stretched out there, no?
No.
I really liked it. I thought it was great. The pacing was brilliant on it. People, I understand, dislike the running time of it, which is nearer to 3 hours than 2.5. But I thought it was really well done. Really loved going back to Middle-earth, and I'm looking forward to seeing Desolation of Smaug in December.
Which the trailer's up on the site on mondaymovieshow.co.uk. And number 6, Les Miserables.
Which is absolutely just astounding how good this film is, especially as it's a musical, and I'm not a fan of musicals, and neither is Stuart. And Stuart liked it too, and just absolutely blew us both away. If you haven't seen it, see it on the best sound system that you can, because you will get more from it. Absolutely fantastic.
There are actually some musicals that I do quite like. Anything that's done by Matt Stone and Trey Parker that's got musical elements in it. And obviously, if you go back to things like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and Mary Poppins and Bedknobs and Broomsticks, I can tolerate them.
What about Rocky Horror Picture Show?
That's actually quite fun to watch,
yeah.
Rocky Horror Picture Show. So, yeah, I want to see that live. At number 5, Wreck-It Ralph.
Which is surprising how much fun it is for people who are gamers and people who aren't gamers. It's for all ages, adults and kids, and no matter who you are, there is no reason you will not like this film. It's just fun.
In the sun, sun, sun. I thought you were going to start singing the Red Dwarf theme tune there. At number 4, Django Unchained.
Possibly Quentin Tarantino's closest film to being the best one he's ever done until he turns up in it. But Jamie Foxx is absolutely fantastic as the main character. Christoph Waltz is just absolutely... Christoph Waltz is absolutely fantastic in the film, and really good performances. Some okay action sequences. I have an issue with the music in the film, that it doesn't kind of fit to it for me, but really is a film that should be seen. I mean, it's an 18 because it's violent and it's bloody, as Quentin Tarantino films are, but it's very worth seeing. And also, not only that, but Leonardo DiCaprio is very good in it too.
Yeah, number 3, and you went with for Zero Dark 30.
Which is another film which was a complete surprise, sort of Oscar time, and when it was released, it's the whole thing of the story of the search for the hunt for Osama bin Laden, that then got changed because of real life events happening, and it's another one that's a really good performance from Jessica Chastain, who holds the whole thing together. But it's one of my favourite directors, Catherine Bigelow, and she brings her A game to this. It's a very good thriller. It's a bit long, lengthy sort of watch at points, but well worth sitting through right to the very end, because it's a very good film.
She has to hold the film together anyway, because if she doesn't, it could crumble a little bit. But it's under the hands of Catherine Bigelow anyway, so I doubt it would have crumbled. At number 2, and you went for Lincoln,
which is Steven Spielberg's biopic, but it doesn't so much, similar to how we've got Hitchcock later in the show, it doesn't so much focus on the life of Abraham Lincoln, so much as him pushing through the 13th Amendment and the abolishment of slavery. And it's a very good drama piece, real great performances in it from Daniel Day-Lewis, Tommy Lee Jones, Sally Fields, and it's just astounding to watch. It's not that cinematic in parts, but it does have that Steven Spielberg attention to detail that does make it worth seeing on a good screen.
Yep, and at number 1, and you went for A Good Day to Die Hard.
Why?
Delilah.
Am I just setting up songs for you tonight?
Yeah, pretty much.
No, it's honestly, why have people been buying this? I know it's a Die Hard film, but it's not really. It's a try hard film, and I
think it's because I saw it in HMV on Blu-ray for $12.99.
Still too much. I mean, the Blu-ray's got an uncut version which has got another 4 minutes in it or something. But really, is that worth paying $12.99 for on Blu-ray? You're gonna watch it and then sell it off or trade it in somewhere.
I don't think anybody will actually take it.
That's it for the DVD and Blu-ray part of the show, or the DVD and Blu-ray top 10 part of the show.
I was going to say that's the shortest show we've ever done.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Good night. No, we're going to take a quick break.
Don't go anywhere.
Which we'll be back with the first of our reviews.
Right, advert. What do I need to say in an advert? Well, I need to say that we're the Gamescast. I need to say that we're on Twitter at the Gamescast. I need to say we're on Facebook. I need to say we've got a website, thegamescast.com, and I need to say we're on YouTube. Oh yeah, and we're on this thing called Spreaker.com. Don't know where that came from. What else? That's probably it. Right, better record it. Oh, crap. That was 30 seconds. The Gamescast. Grown-up gamers talking about games. Allegedly.
So, let's go on with our first review of several films we've got this evening.
Yep, it's for Beautiful Creatures, which is directed by Richard LeGravenus.
I'm not going to try and argue that name.
Yeah, I think it's Lick Ravenous. He hasn't done very many films. I had a little look on his IMDb page, and it didn't look very interesting, to be honest. So
that's really condescending of you.
Yeah, I know. The film itself, the opening of the film centers around a character called Ethan, played by Aidan Ehrenreich. He's got like very few vowels in his name, but it's Aidan Ehrenreich, who lives in this.
Ehrenreich.
It's very German.
Yeah.
He lives in a small southern town, and you can instantly tell by his accent. It's worse than Caleb from American Gothic. I'm not going to do an impression of it, but it really does grate on you.
Nah.
What the hell was that? I think you were possessed by one of the minions from Despicable Me there. But yeah,
Sorry, I'll shut up now.
You're asking for a stretch echo from me. It centers around Ethan. I think I've said his name a few times now. Who lives in a small southern town. He keeps on having dreams about this girl who he envisions. And when he goes to school one day after being picked up by his friend, a new girl is put in the class, Lena, who's played by Alice Englert. And he recognises her for some reason. It turns out that she is the one who he's actually keeping a vision. People in this school keep taking the mickey out of her because she is the niece of Jeremy Irons' character, who plays Macon Ravenwood, who owns practically everything in the entire town because his ancestors built the town. So he's a very recluse person who lives in this. It's it's run down on the outside, but once you get to see it on the inside, it's opulent. It's very white and clean. Everything is clean. You could probably run your finger across the ground and you'll not find an inch of dust in that place. But everybody's scared of them because it's a very devout Christian town, and obviously if there's any kind of touch of the devil in you, they're going to bring you up on it. So Lena is not very liked at all. Ethan sort of like gets an attraction to her, and he becomes friends with her, which ultimately turns into a relationship. There is a complication though, because Lena does hold a secret that she doesn't want to release until one day when she's taken the mickey out of in school, all the windows explode through and everybody thinks that she's a witch, and ultimately she does turn out to be so. Here's a clip.
I'm sorry. You've got to get away from me. I don't know what to do. It just happens.
You still don't get it, do you? I don't want to be any further away from you than I am right now, one way or another.
I'm scared I'm gonna hurt you.
Love's a risk for anybody.
I mean, killing you hurt you.
Go ahead. Kill me.
So during the film, you find out that Lena does not like to be called a witch. She likes to be called a caster. However, there is her 16th birthday that's coming up, which will affect her life forever. She has a decision to make, whether it be the good side, to be a good person, a good witch, or a good caster in this standpoint, or ultimately turn to a darker side, which her mother, which she finds out during the film, was, and one of her cousins. Now, at the start of the film, this is a very Twilight-esque kind of movie because it is aimed at that audience. It is from a book which is written for people who like that kind of thing. I was very apprehensively wanting to watch this film. I didn't want to watch it at all because I don't like those kind of movies. There are for a specific age group, and I'm not in that age group. I'm not even double-breasted neither. But I was a bit apprehensive of watching this. When you start watching it, yeah, Ethan's accent is a bit annoying, but the more you watch it, you actually think, it's tolerable. Viola Davis, she's in the film as well, who I really like anyway, and she could do a really weird accent, and I can tolerate her because she's a fantastic actress. And the more the film goes on, the more you're thinking, actually, this is not too bad. It's like when you go outside, and it's not like a really hot day, but it's not like a cold day. It's a little bit of breeze. It feels like that. It's not too bad out here. It's tolerable. And then all of a sudden it just starts to become very melodramatic and boring, and will you just shut up, and I know that you're going to get together and just get on with what's going to happen, because then you just start not caring about the characters. And for the first 40 minutes it just throws away that good 40 minutes of building up a character, and you think, yeah, I actually really do wish that these characters would get together because they're not too bad. And then you just want them to shut up because they do become the typical boring to love characters, and it spoils the film. There is decent ideas in the film there, but it just spoils the film. So it stops the film from being well above average to being just on the borderline of below average. So it's not too bad, but it does get itself too wrapped up in itself the more you watch it, unfortunately.
I'm just going to say that because I saw this originally when it was released in the cinema, and I was surprised how much I did enjoy it. I have seen all the Twilight films as well, and I think it deserves to do no worse than any of them, and at its best deserves actually to do better than them. It's, for me, a more solid film than that. It's very well put together, I think, and I thought that it kind of flowed and worked really well. I liked the characters in it more than I did, and I mean, definitely Alice Englert is a lot more interesting actress and performance than you get from Kristen Stewart in the Twilight films. But
they all are actually. Even
it's good performances in this film.
Ehrenreich, who plays Ethan, even though he's got that annoying accent and that very weird face, he's got a very blocked chin. He's still a better actor, I think.
Yeah, and I hope that the further books, similar to Twilight, I think there's 4 books in this series. I hope they will get made as well, because I think that it deserves to, and I would quite happily sit through another one of these to see more of what happens. So
well, it's put me off more from seeing a Twilight film. I don't want to see a Twilight film at all.
Okay, it seems you and I have swapped this week for this and Mama, which I'm going to do now. And I think, you've seen Mama, but I think you probably should review this. Mama is a supernatural thriller from Andre Muschietti. Yep. I got it right. Yay. It stars Nicola Costa Welder. I can never pronounce his name. Of Game of Thrones, and also Jessica Chastain. Nicola plays he plays brothers Lucas and Jeffrey, and at the start of the film, one of the brothers, who has 2 daughters, 2 very young little daughters, takes them after having killed his wife along in a car, and plans to actually kill them as well. He takes them to a cabin in the woods. Sorry, I'm going to say it. He takes them to this abandoned cabin in the woods where he's about to shoot them until something mysteriously intervenes, and you don't really see it because one of his daughters wears glasses, and without them she's basically blind and just sees the whole thing sort of happen blurred. Cut to some time later, and the other brother, who is living with his girlfriend Annabelle, played by Jessica Chastain, is told that the girls have been found, but there is a sort of a weirdness to them because of the situation. They've been left in the woods for a prolonged time to basically fend for themselves. Here's a clip.
Victoria and Lily Desange were found in deplorable conditions, isolated, starved. They feared and distrusted all physical contact. Their emotional growth was clearly compromised by their abandonment. In order to survive such extreme isolation, the girls created an imaginary guardian, a parent figure to feed them, sing to them, protect them. They called her Mama. Victoria and Lily have a real chance at a normal life now. With the right care for physical and emotional development and much needed love and affection, they will get better.
Thank you, Dr. Dreyfus. Miss Podolsky, would you care to address the court?
Good morning, Your Honor. Jeffrey Desange murdered my niece and abandoned his daughters in the forest. Now, his brother did an extraordinary thing. Lucas never gave up on his nieces. But he did it for the girls, not for himself. So if he still has their best interest at heart, he must know that neither his salary nor his very small apartment are suitable for the raising of 2 children.
So the 2 of them take the kids to a house that they're living in, but weird things sort of start to happen, and it turns out that this mysterious Mama may actually be something else that really does exist. And the thing with it is, I am not a fan of horror. I especially do not like supernatural horror films. Supernatural horror films really give me the creeps. Just the subject of it is one of these things that I don't like. But I said I would see it in this because of the fact that I kind of was curious about it. I didn't hate it. I didn't dislike it. It's okay, but it did scare the crap out of me at certain points. I'm not afraid to admit that. But I am a very lightweight when it comes to horror films. There's especially the thing of it is that there's this whole thing of the mama character, that the way it's shot and done with this contortionist and this weird. I mean, they've done effects on it as well, to make it look all twisted and very horribly conjoined. Something, yeah.
Can I just give you a slight little fact? Would you believe it that the mama character is actually played by a bloke?
It's a man, yeah, I know. I'm not surprised with that because there is it's a man who's well known for doing these contortion things, and he's very thin, and he has a certain body.
Javier Botet, I think it is.
He has a condition where he's basically so really flexible, so he can actually do a lot of the stuff he does in the film with contortions and stuff. I believe is actually just him, not a special effect. But they still then dialed it up with special effects as well in certain points, and it's a really creepy thing. It's got these shots that are over-cranked in that kind of Evil Dead way of shooting, where things are filmed and then filmed with the person moving really slowly and then sped up. So there is this really unnatural look to the way they move, or filmed in reverse and then played backwards and stuff. And that kind of stuff really freaks me out. Especially this as well. There's lots of points in it where there's these big, the big jumps that you get, just sudden jumps. I hate those. I really hate those. There's too many of them in this film as far as I'm concerned. But I think it's quite well put together. I love the way that it looks because it's very grainy and very bleak coloured. And there's certain bits, when there's something bad is going to happen because of the fact that it kind of foreshadows it with the way that the bleakness is dialed up and it starts to look very shadowed and dark, and you can just tell, and you get that ooh sound, build up and stuff. But the thing of the mama thing as well, another thing that really kind of freaked me out is the sound. The sound on this film is really impressively freaky. And would you agree or disagree with that?
Well, no, because I'm not a lightweight when it comes to horror. No, I didn't actually get scared at all during the film, but I did like the way that it is shot, the look of it, and the sound as well.
I think the sound. I think the sound design on it is a real marvel of just really good work. But I mean, for me, I didn't enjoy it because I was kind of terrified at points. But I think a lot of people who love horror films will find a lot in this that they enjoy.
It has elements of Guillermo del Toro as the executive producer on it.
It's presented by him as the first title on the screen.
Yeah, because he originally saw the short by Andreas Muschietti, which is actually part of the film itself. It's just the scene where Mama chases the two girls in the house. That is the short. It's up on YouTube, and Guillermo del Toro saw that short and thought it was a good idea, and he was speaking with Andreas Muschietti.
There's also an idea in it that I really did like, and I loved the way it was done, which is basically the way that you learn to do with Mama is that things you see it in a dream, and you see it like a first person thing, and it's really well done. That moment I was kind of like freaked out, but I was just like, that was brilliant. That was really well done. I loved the way that was done.
Yep. So next film is Warm Bodies, which is directed by Jonathan Levin, who did 50-50, which the only time in your life you'll ever get to see a film is called a cancer comedy, because that's exactly where it is. And I got ridiculed every single time I go and follow in the nerd and mention cancer comedy for some reason. All right, now this stars Nicholas Hoult as Q, who's a zombie, and Teresa Palmer, who plays Julia, is actually at the start of the film. The whole world has been taken over by zombies. Everybody's been turned into zombies, but you obviously got the small pockets of resistance, and one of them is this huge, massive, walled-off area, which is run by John Malkovich's character, who plays Griglow. He sends off out a team to get medical supplies. One of them includes his daughter Julie, and while they're inside this lab, they get attacked by zombies. Here's a clip.
How'd you die?
I don't remember.
How old are you? Because you could be 20-something, but you could also be a teenager. You have one of those faces.
Oh my god.
And I can't even smell. You don't smell rotten. He doesn't smell rotten. Amazing.
Nora, I didn't come here for an interview. Stop.
So while in that lab, Q and the group of zombies who he's with attacks everybody in there and kills one of them. Unfortunately for Julia, she's left behind, and for some reason Q gets an attraction to her. Instead of him wanting to kill her, he wants to protect her from all the zombies around her. Takes her to this plane where he stays, and he again, like I said, he wants to protect her, but more and more he stays with her, the more and more he starts to get his speech back, and the more and more his heart starts beating, etc. When Julia reveals all the plans to her father, he thinks this is ridiculous, because obviously the zombies are the bad guys in this, and they want to protect themselves from the zombies. Unfortunately, there are other things out there which is a bigger threat to not just the humans, but to the zombies as well, which are these huge creatures called bonies, which are weird-looking creatures. And Q needs to team up with his friend M, who's another zombie who starts to get a bit of his conscience back, and also the humans, to try and protect themselves from these bonies. Interesting premise it is. It's a 12 zombie film, and that's a very rare thing. A zombie film that is rated 12, because you normally expect zombie films to be 15 or above because of the gore. You want to see a zombie rip somebody apart. That's the whole point of a zombie film. So it was interesting that you were getting a zombie film rated 12. And again, in a way, it's sort of like aimed at the Twilight audience, but more of a mature Twilight audience, rather, because I think if somebody who's a Twihard goes to see this movie, they might find a few of the scenes a bit gross. Even though there is a love story in it, and it is aimed at that audience, it is sort of like at the top end of the Twilight audience. It's a good concept idea, but the film itself doesn't fully follow through with it. It's not too bad. Nicholas Hoult as Q, he plays a decent enough zombie, and each actor in the film, their roles are actually pretty decent as well. There's a few humorous points in the movie, but it's an average film at its peak. It doesn't drop below average, but it's an average film at its best.
Bit of a rom-com zom-bomb.
Yeah, because it's not a rom-com zombie, because that's coined by Shaun of the Dead, and it deserves it, because that's one of the best, if not the best, rom-coms on. But there's a film called Wasting Away, which falls into that category as well, which is actually rubbish. It's an average film. It belongs in the average scale.
Hitchcock, which is directed by Sasha Gervasi, is a true story about the whole thing of Anthony Hopkins playing Alfred Hitchcock, who, during his life as a filmmaker, then decided he wanted to make a film that was going to be very different, that everyone was sort of interested in him making the similar kind of thing he'd been making before. He, though, had an idea where he's reading a book that he wants to make instead, and he decides to get his wife, played by Helen Mirren, Alma Reville, to actually read a section of it and see what she thinks, as he wants to make this into a horror film. Here's a clip.
I just want you to read this little bit here. It takes place in the motel bathroom.
Mary started to scream, and then the curtains parted farther, and a hand appeared holding a butcher's knife. It was the knife that, a moment later, cut off her scream and her head. Charming. Doris Day should do it as a musical.
That is nothing but low-budget horror movie claptrap.
But what if someone really good made a horror picture? Just think of the shock value. Killing off your leading lady halfway through. I mean, you are intrigued, are you not, my dear? Come on, admit it. Admit it.
Actually, I think it's a huge mistake. You shouldn't wait till halfway through. Kill her off after 30 minutes.
So then Hitch, as he likes to be called, sets about arranging to finance this, because he can't find anyone to finance such a sort of dangerous film to make, because no one made really these kind of horror films. So he ends up financing it with putting his house on a mortgage, doing it all to get it himself, and then sets about the making of it. And it's called Hitchcock, but it's not really a biopic thing. I mean, as we said earlier, it's more just about the making of Psycho. and it more concentrates on that era of his life. I was going to say, because there's not really a lot kind of a plot to there, because it's all about this whole thing of them making the film and some of the struggles they had, some of the issues they had, and as time went on, the kind of toll it sort of did take on him. The performances in it are good. Anthony Hopkins is very good in it, but not quite the right fit for Alfred Hitchcock. You've also got Helen Mirren has said that she's very good as always. You've got Scarlett Johansson, who really disappears into the role playing Janet Leigh. And I was actually blown away by her. I did a double take when she came on this film, because I was like, what? Wow, she just looked so much like her.
Yeah, agreed there.
And that is the whole thing of what this film really does excel at. This film really looks the parts, but it's just Anthony Hopkins is good, but he's just not right for the part. As are a lot. Another thing as well that's kind of freaky is you see James D'Arcy plays Anthony Perkins in it, and he just looks like him, so much like him as well when he did back then as well. And they've done a real good job of getting everyone cast to look the part, and some of them playing the parts really well. And the film the set of it looks absolutely amazing, and all the cars and the look of everything I absolutely loved. It was just let down by this central performance of Alfred Hitchcock, which isn't really a fault of Anthony Hopkins. He does the best he can with it, but he's just not right for the role. So you have to be able to look past that to really enjoy the film, and that's where it kind of has the falling apart issue with me. It's good, but I just couldn't get past that.
Yeah, I think they concentrated too much on the look and not enough on the story and the film itself.
Yeah,
I think they got the style. It's I am true when you say it's mostly style, very little substance.
Yeah, which means it's not. It doesn't make for a bad watch. It's a satisfyingly enjoyable watch. I walked out and I was like, I quite enjoyed that, but not like, I loved that. I really enjoyed that. I was just like, yeah, okay, that was all right. That's how I walked out of that film.
How can you walk out of it? You'll have walked into the street considering you watched it on DVD.
Well, I saw it in the cinema originally, so I know that's my impression, and that's still the impression I have. It's literally like, it's not changed on it at all.
Right, next up, to the wonder, I got the Terrence Malick film. Oh, God. I'm never, ever reviewing a Terrence Malick film ever again. So you're getting them in future. Well, you actually got getting the next one.
Well, if there's a Mama 2, I'm not reviewing that.
I'll gladly review that because I love horrors anyway, but here's a clip to give you an indication of what this film is like. Now, you have to understand, there is one piece of dialogue in this clip, and it's in French. The rest is no dialogue whatsoever. This is what I had to suffer through.
On montait les marches. À la merveille.
Hello and welcome back to the French sounds of nature.
That's horrible.
That's kind of like, that's just what that clip made me think. That's really terrible.
It sounded like you were took over by Pepe Le Pew.
That's kind of harsh.
I know. It does have the film itself. There is actually a film I'm reviewing here as well. It does have some kind of storyline. It centers around Neil, who's played by Ben Affleck, who's an American who's touring Europe. He ends up establishing a relationship with Marina, who's played by Olga Kurylenko, who's got a 10-year-old daughter. They then move over back to America, where they think about getting married, but they don't get married. The relationship breaks down. She goes back to her home country. Ben Affleck then meets up with a character who's played by Rachel McAdams. He falls in love with her. They go on holiday. He finds out that Marina has come really bad hard on times, and he tries to hunt her down and again re-establishes a relationship with her and comes back to America, and the same problems occur. You've also got a character who's played by Javier Bardem, who plays this priest in the film as well. And the way the film is done is each one of the actors or actresses, Olga Kurylenko, she does her stuff in French. She's speaking about love in French. Ben Affleck, he does his in American, and Javier Bardem does his stuff in Spanish. They're all speaking about love, and if you know the way Terrence Malick does his films, he's such a pretentious director. He went away for quite a few years and then come back and did The Tree of Life, which is just a difficult film to watch because it is quite long. It's very boring. This is on for just shy of 2 hours, and this is even a harder watch because it's the kind of film that should have just been in an art gallery. That it's a video painting with a bit of music in the background for 2 hours. I don't know how the hell he gets budgets to make films, or how the hell he manages to get actors to be in his films, because they're so pretentious. And it's the kind of thing that if you go to a coffee shop and you hear two people talking about art, it's that boring. These pretentious idiots who you just want to walk over and pour your coffee over their head and tell them to shut up and speak like a normal person. Just avoid it. Avoid it.
Okay, my final film this evening is Hick, which is directed by Derek Martini. It's based on a novel, and the screenplay is also written by the same writer, Andrea Portes. It's about a young girl played by Chloe Moretz, who plays Luli, who is, at the start of the film, she's celebrating her 13th birthday with her family, her mother and father. Her mother, played by Juliette Lewis. They're all out sort of at a bar. Her mother and father get sort of fairly drunk. And she ends up getting a ride home from someone else because her father almost basically gets into the car and tries to drive her home drunk, and her mother and father have a big sort of spat outside the bar. And there's this whole thing of then she's kind of hates everything that's going on. She's sick of everything, so she decides what she's going to do is she's going to make her way to Vegas, goes out and basically just starts walking and sort of hitchhiking. She then runs into sort of some characters along the way. She first of all runs into a guy named Eddie, played by Eddie Redmayne, who is a sort of a cowboy kind of guy who has these sort of this weird issue to him, and sort of like she gets in the van with him, drives along with him, has a sort of an argument, and gets out further along the road, where she then meets Glenda, played by Blake Lively, who she then sort of befriends, ends up getting in the car with her and joining her for a while. And it then leads into sort of the journey as she sort of goes from place to place and meets other people, and then including Eddie coming back again and sort of meeting him, and it kind of just spirals. It's one of these films that kind of just spirals out of control. It's a real hard watch for. I think some people will struggle watching it. They'll think there's things in it that are kind of not bad, but just distasteful. I mean they're bad as well. Things that happen to Lily. There's things along the way which you kind of, the characters are a bit weird, and you're kind of not really believing in them. And there's also this whole sort of events that happen later on as the film goes, where I kind of really just lost interest in it, and that's the problem with it. It's not an interesting film. It's based on a book, which I don't know if the book is well known or not, or how accurate it is, but it's just really it shows that there's lots of gaps in it where you're kind of waiting on what's happening now. Something's happening, nothing's happening, and that's basically what the whole film is like for the whole time that it runs, which is an hour and 40 minutes. So it just comes to a point where at the end of it you go, okay, what did I just watch? Why did I watch that? And at the end of it you kind of question, what was the point? Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's really only for anyone who's a big fan of people involved in that. Otherwise, I'd say really avoid it. So that's it for the DVD releases this week. We've got TV movie of the week as well, which I've got a quick one I'm just going to mention, which is Inglourious, which if you know what that is, you'll recognise it. It's a Quentin Tarantino film. It's on film.
Inglourious Bar Stewards.
Yes, Bar Stewards.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's on Thursday night at 10:45 on Film 4. So if you haven't seen it, check it out, because it is actually a really good Quentin Tarantino film. And I don't think he's in it at any point either. I don't think he acts in it. Yeah. And Christoph Waltz, absolutely fantastic in it. So
yeah, and Dog Soldiers is on Saturday the 22nd at 11:35 on Film 4 as well. Awesome film by Neil Marshall. His directorial debut.
And Stuart from Page to Screen, who just giving a quick shout out to there, he and I were talking about it the other day as well, and we both agreed Dog Soldiers is the best death scene of Sean Pertwee in any film.
Oh
Absolutely
yeah, completely
the best.
agree.
Yeah. So that's it for this week's show. I'm just going to go through some quick shout outs as well. As I said there, Stuart, the other Stuart from Page 2 Screen, the number 2 screen. You can find him on Twitter or from pagetoscreen.com. You've got followingthenerd.com as well. Our friend Mark, who does a show on Thursday nights at 9 o'clock. Lolacourse.co.uk, who normally do a show sort of Fridays. I think they're on a break at the moment. But you can also find them on Spreaker as well. Menage a Geek, who is Al, bald gamer dude, as he's known on Twitter, who is also part of sort of Following the Nerd as well. He does a sort of hour and a half podcast, normally every couple of weeks or so. He's got an E3 one that he did with you.
Site coming soon.
Yep.
That should be up on Following the Nerd either tomorrow or Tuesday. When you listen to this, it might already be up on there.
And also, we're going to give a shout out to the Seren Foundation, which is a charity, which is SERNfoundation.org.uk. Have a look on there, check out, and if you can, donate whatever you can to them, because it's a very worthwhile charity.
They have an event going on July the 20th, so if you live in Swansea, and make sure you go down there and contribute.
Yep. So we hope that you've enjoyed listening to this show on a Sunday night as opposed to normal Monday night. If you're listening to us on iTunes or anywhere else like that, feel free, please give us a comment or feedback or anything like that. Let us know what you thought of the show, anything like that to do with it, then we'll gladly accept that. Or any shout outs, anything like that, or any films that are coming out that we're aware of. So
and visit our website, mondaymovieshow.co.uk. We might as well give a shout out to ourselves.
We already did it earlier.
I know, but still, at the end, we should give a shout out as well.
But so also you can find us as well at Monday Movie Show on Twitter as well, and we're on Facebook too, so you can search for us and find us and like us on there too.
And YouTube.
Yeah, but YouTube's on the site anyway. So until next week, when we'll be back at our normal Monday night at 7:30. This is us bidding you a farewell, and we will see you next week.
With an outro from Monsters University.
I wasn't going to say, you can just play it.
You want your state of kind material, freshman?
Well, thanks.
No.
He's
an Omega Howell guy.
Back off. We saw him first.
No way, we did.
I'll take it from here, gentlemen. Johnny Worthington, president of Roar Omega Roar. What's your name, Big Blue?
Jimmy Sullivan. Friends call me Sully.
This guy's a Sullivan? Like the famous Sullivan? I can't believe it! That is crazy!
Chet, calm down.
I'm sorry.
Sully, any freshman with the guts to pull off a stunt like that has got Future Scarer written all over him.
Hey, did you see me ride the pig? That took guts. Slow down, Squirt. This party is for scare students only.
Oh, sorry, Killer, but you might want to hang out with someone a little more your speed. They look fun.
Oh, hey there. Want to join Uzma Kappa? We have cake.
Go crazy.
And just for anyone who decides to listen all the way to the end of the show, thanks for listening. We forgot Movie of the Week. Well, I forgot Movie of the Week, which is 3, 2, 1, Man of Steel.
Steel.
Yeah. Till next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.